Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and can I congratulate the Honourable Member for Winchester for bringing forward this bill. I think a year on from the general election, it's nice that we have one of those days when there's a whole sequence of bills on the docket or the list for today, which we can all get behind and support, and which should do great good both for animals in this country and hopefully some of the humans here as well. When I gave my maiden speech, I highlighted that my predecessor and I, in keeping with convention, I'd say something nice about him. My predecessor and I are both vegetarians, and that animal welfare is a cause that has been close to both of our hearts, and particularly, I think if you look at most of his time in office, you'll see a very extensive efforts of my predecessor around animal welfare. Although I have to say my contribution has been far more limited, in part because the number of constituency issues that I feel need to take priority during that time. But I am pleased that I can be here today to try and support this measure through the House to improve the well-being of animals. One particular question that I can recall, though, which does slightly relate to this, is I can recall a written question in relation to importation and exportation of reindeer from the United Kingdom, from which we are now aware that there are, in 2020 and in 2021, there were 2 imports of reindeer and 1 export of reindeer. Presumably Santa's sleigh has separate licensing arrangements through the United Kingdom. Import controls have a significant role to play in my constituency. Crawley constituency is home to Gatwick Airport, and their animal reception centre enables the important ability for people to relocate with their pets and also to bring other more exotic animals into the United Kingdom, on which point local authorities also have a significant role to play in these processes. And during my time as a councillor, I saw a number of requests for permits for exotic animals in my constituency, resulting in somewhat confusing conversations about why it was that someone really needed a full-size crocodile in the middle of a housing estate. That licence was not approved, I have to say. The Honourable Member for Winchester is to be commended for bringing forward this bill, and the House is privileged to be able to benefit from his extensive professional experience on the important role that the provisions set out in the bill have to play in preventing animal abuse and hopefully enhancing wider animal welfare. We are a nation of animal lovers, and we should feel rightly proud that the legislative framework we have in this country is already world-leading. And yet, despite all the measures we have in place, I think members would probably agree that from the range of correspondence we get from our constituents, that there are probably more separate campaigns on animal welfare than any other policy area that I have encountered, certainly in my time here. And I think it's important that we don't rest on our laurels moving forward, that we do accept that the job is not done, and that as technology moves things forward, we will continue to have additional measures that need to be put in place to improve well-being for animals. One area which has been raised clearly within this debate so far is around social media and the issue of animal abuse online, and the Honourable Member for Winchester has outlined the relationship that influencers have to play around some of these provisions. In addition to the problems already outlined, I have to say there are far too many groups online which are dedicated to animal abuse. Constituents of mine have been involved in attempts to try and shut these groups down over the years. They all too often find that instead of finding support on the part of social media companies to try and address these problems, that instead it is they who are reported and face their own accounts being shut down by those perpetrating the abuse, left without the support they need to actually bring these networks of abuse to an end. The worst examples of this that I'm aware of were brought up in constituency surgery with me, which relate to the torture of baby monkeys. They choose baby monkeys because when you put them in a baby grow, you can convince yourself it's a baby. And while this is clearly illegal already, the measures in place or the requirements in place in Social Media Companies Act are insufficient, I would say, at this point. I would not burden the House by letting you know the things that I now know about what happened to these monkeys. All I can say is that after they left, I had to give myself some minutes to deal with the tears from finding out what happened to them. You know, we must do better around this, and I very much hope that moving forward we're able to. So I enthusiastically support the bill today, but we cannot rest on our laurels, and Meta must be made to answer for the fact that they are not acting to bring an end to animal abuse on their networks, and that they are profiting actively from the advertising which appears on that network, and advertisers must be aware that part of what they are paying for when they pay to advertise on Facebook is the maintenance of these animal abuse networks. I very much hope advertisers will think more carefully about that in future. Thank you.
Yeah.